Okay, I want to bring something to your attention now. The internet. Who is the International Monetary Fund? The International Monetary Fund gives credit, loans credit to human beings. How do they do that? They set up a trust in your name, and the corporation that sees over your dominion or your plantation, basically, has the mother or the informant sign what's called a certificate of live birth, and they in turn give you a receipt, which is called a birth certificate, just like a certificate of title to your car. But anyway, the International Monetary Fund is like the major corporation over the other corporations. It's the world corporation. It's the New World Order. And what they do is a corporation like the United States Corporation will take the birth certificates for their human chattel to the IMF, and the IMF will issue a certain amount of credit, but you have to pay them back interest. And that's what the IRS does, is collects the interest from your chattel property, say if you're the United States Corporation. So this is just going to be a very brief thing, but just to prove that to you, there's 12 Federal Reserve banks in the United States, and you can tell that if you look at a $1 bill on the there's a letter there, 1 through 12, so it's A through L. They have an alphanumeric number that denotes which one is which. So here's a B, B. I always look at them all. I'm obsessed with them now. There's a L, E. E is Richmond, Virginia. That's what I have on the back of my Social Security card. L is San Francisco, which would be 12. B is New York. I is Minneapolis, Minnesota. G is Chicago, Illinois. A is Boston, Massachusetts. C is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. D is Cleveland, Ohio. Anyway, it goes on and on from there. Now, because you've been issued credit through the IMF, the only way the parent corporation can earn money, the United States Corporation, is through you. So you're the signer for the account, basically. They can't get it. They're just a corporation. They're a fictional entity. They can't get any money unless you authorize it. Okay? So here's the IMF, and here's you, and then here's the United States. Now, the only way the United States Corporation can get money from the IMF or credit is through you. They have to go through you. Just to give you a little tutorial on that, look, if you still use checks, this is an old check of mine, but look on the bottom on the routing number. Interesting that this particular routing number starts with a 12. So this check is going to be run through the San Francisco Federal Reserve. Okay? And what happens is you go to the bank, you fill this out, and it eventually ends up back at Wells Fargo. And then they send it to the Federal Reserve Bank in San Francisco, which in turn credits your account to them. Okay? So just know how that works. And they even sell these, the banks, but it's you go deep into that rabbit hole. But just so you understand how that works. So here's the United States Corporation. Here's the Federal Reserve Bank, which is a privately owned corporation of international bankers. And there's you in the middle. You're the go-between. So you have to authorize your credit to be issued to the United States Corporation and their banks. How do they do that? For one, the United States Corporation puts all its debt onto your fictional corporation, which is your name in all capital letters. Another interesting point, too, is this. See on here on your check, there's a little, it says MP where you're supposed to sign it. MP, I don't know if you can see that. It stands for microprint. If you were to take a microscope and look at the line where you sign it, All along there say authorized rep, authorized rep, authorized rep. Why? Because you're the authorized representative for the credit account set up with the International Monetary Fund, which in turn is basically the Federal Reserve Bank. They just call it the Federal Reserve Bank here to give you the illusion that it's, you know, it's an American institution, but it's not. So microprint, which is interesting. So they have to come to you to get it, and they put all their debt on you, and you, through adhesion contracts and fraud, think that this is you, your name in all capital letters, but it's not you. It's a fictional corporation set up at your birth. It's the trust account with the International Monetary Fund. Okay? Everything is an illusion. And if you have some time, you should turn off the TV and look into this stuff, because it'll blow your frickin' mind. It's all an illusion. Countries, flags, patriot, it's all just a bunch of bullshit. It's all about the Benjamins, folks. It's all about money. That's it. They tell you you're a U.S. citizen and blah, 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 4th of July, blah, blah. It's all bullshit. Because at the top, they know they're just trying to make money off of you. So, how do they make money off you? Well, since the War of 1812, the British came back, burned down the White House, and they took control of the court system. That's why in American courts they all wear black robes, just like they do in Europe, or in England mostly. So they took control because they ultimately, the crown owns the IMF, and I'm not talking about the English crown, the Queen. It's the crown. Look into who the crown is, because the United States is a crown corporation, has been from the get-go. It's all bullshit, folks. It's all a big scam and a lie. And I do nothing but study this stuff 8 hours a day for the last 7 years. And you ultimately get to this point where you realize, hey, it's just a money game. It's a Ponzi scheme, and we're involved in it. We're going along with it. Back to my point. How do they get money? How do they get us to sign on for more money to be paid back to the head of the Crown Corporation? Through the what's called corporate codes and statutes. Now there's something like 800,000 of them on the books, and they make money if you get, and they it's set up like this. I mean, they're growing the heroin, the poppy seeds in Afghanistan with our sons and daughters over there guarding it. And you see on the news every night here, it's all about, there's so much heroin on the street, and all the young kids are burning out on heroin. They're all dying. They're all, look at them, not all of them, but a lot of them. And so what they want to do is they want to get you into the prison system. And when you when they get you to agree that your strawman corporate fiction has violated one of their corporate codes and statutes, maybe you are an evil. Maybe some people belong in prison. I certainly agree with that, but they make money off of it because they have prison bonds. Now, prison bonds are what's funding all the wars and everything everywhere. That's why in the United States of America, there's more people in prison or in the prison system here than anywhere else in the world, folks. And we're only 5% of the frickin' population of the world. And there's more people in prison here. Prison is the giant big business, and they're getting ready to go for broke. They're going to blow the whole fucking thing out, and everybody's going. I swear to God, I've looked at this, and I know. You'll think I'm crazy? I ain't crazy, people. They're going to just wow out and just do it. They're taking over the world, and they don't give a shit about you and me. They can get you, they want that money. They want that money at the IMF. And they're going to put you in prison. They're going to pimp you when you're in prison making, widgets or whatever for 25 cents a day. It's happening. It's going to happen. You need to extract yourself from this system. It's so real. It's not even scary anymore. It's just like, I don't know. It's just sheer craziness. But there's no way around it. Once you look into it and you study it, you see it. You have an unlimited supply of credit, and the United States Corporation and the Crown Corporation, they want it. They want it because they want to take over the world. But they're just low-level, people in the government, low-level, basically minions. Just like all the other scrappers out here trying to make a living. So ultimately, that's the deal. Look at. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, but even your check. You think this is a Wells Fargo check? No. This gets sent to the Federal Reserve Bank because you're the authorized representative. And it has it right there on the routing number. So then which Federal Reserve Bank your check is being routed through? Because it's your credit. They set up your credit, $1 million to $3 million at your birth, and you draw off that every time you write a check. You understand that? That's how it works. There's no money. It's all bullshit. Anyway, thanks for listening. I know, sorry about the rant, but hey man, you better wake up before it's too late. Go to stopthepirates.blogspot.com. Thanks.